It's Thursday, July 17th. This is Scouting the League. This week, I have been focusing on preparing for a fall scouting season for pro scouts. An often forgotten part of scouting staffs. The college scouts may get their names in lights around draft time, but pro scouts do their work mostly in the building, behind the scenes, doing all they can to put wins on the field on Sundays. One of those elements they are part of is advanced scouting. And while these wildly vary from year to year and across all 32 franchises, having an accurate snapshot of upcoming opponents is so important. So let's talk a little bit of advanced scouting here on Scouting the League. First, though, let me remind you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast wherever you are listening and watching. If it's at our new home over on ProFootballInsiders.com, if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or over on YouTube, if you like that video element. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend. Let them know that you love football. Help them get educated on the work behind football. Give me a follow at RightStepADV. Check out my website, rsafootball.com. I am Rodrik David, former scout, spent 2 years, a little over 2 years as a pro scout for the Atlanta Falcons, a couple of years on the road as a Midwest scout as well. Give Wednesday's co-host Neil Stratton a follow as well. He is at Inside the League on X. InsideTheLeague.com is his website. And check out his blog, Succeed in Football. Make sure you sign up for his Friday wrap as well. He'll give us a rundown of that Friday wrap this Friday in audio format before you get that full meal of that Friday wrap in email form later in the evening. Give our home a follow as well on X. Pro_FB_insiders. Also, scouts, aspiring scouts, anybody that loves football, check out the scouting community, a spot for scouts to get the resources they need, a community, a non-union union to help scouts in all those spots where they could use help. If there's an answer, we're going to try to find it. Aspiring scouts want to get into the industry, ask questions of not just myself, but all our mentors, all our great people that you're going to be networking with. Head over to thescoutingcommunity.com. It is time to get on the road for scouts, and that may mean needing a few questions answered. The scouting community is here for you. So let's jump into what advanced scouting is. What does it look like? How does it come together? Advanced scouting, again, like I said, it is unique. It is unique. Every team does it a little differently. Every game, advanced scout is going to look a little bit different depending on where you're at in the season, where they're at this season. Every scout is also going to present in a different way. A coaching background scout, which we'll talk about, is going to present a little bit differently than a more of a personnel guy or an analytics guy. Again, so there's going to be different elements. Everybody's going to have a little bit of an identity within how they present. Again, myself, the other pro scouts I was around had our own unique elements we brought to it. But again, that's part of what makes it unique. Your rapport with the coaches can bring all of that out. Analytics driven. More and more you see the analytics staffs part of these conversations, either directly presenting or giving pro scouts and coaches those elements as part of the advance. It's going to give you some metrics, some things to look into, things to dig into, things to verify with film. So that analytics piece has become more and more part of these advanced scouts. And then coaching driven. Again, we used to see these were all done by pro scouts that are getting on the road every week. And we're seeing it more and more with QC coaches, young coaches really almost removing themselves from a lot of the game week preparation and working 2 weeks ahead. Again, that coaching element has probably grown because the background in coaching for pro scouts has backed off a little bit. We're seeing less and less scouts at every position with less of a coaching background, which means the language they use, the scheme knowledge, everything they know from a coaching standpoint is less. So again, you've got to have a coaching element in there. That is a big part of these advances, even if it's just giving a 30,000 foot view. Again, when a coach gets an advance report on Monday, following their game. Again, they're going to want a nice snapshot. Again, having that coaching element is big and important part of it. So let's jump into some of these elements of this advanced scouting report that, like I said, it's presented in most cases probably Monday evening. Again, a pro scout, whoever's doing that advance, is going to be at the opponent's game on Sunday, Monday, whenever that game is. If you assume it's on a Sunday, try to get back that evening. You're going to be smashing everything into your report Sunday night, Monday during the day, getting all your cleanup, reading report, doing all that kind of stuff. That way, Monday night, you can present this to coaches. Again, sometimes coaches are going to want little tidbits before that as they get into their game planning for the week. But again, for most teams, coaches are wrapping up their Sunday game on that Monday. So again, you're going to present it sometimes a Monday in the evening, but you're not all the way putting it to bed. So Monday night, what are you going to be focusing on when you're sitting down to present that? Number one, you're scouting, so you're going to be presenting the roster. Who are 1 through 53? Who are your starters on offense, starters on defense, starters and notable players on special teams? Again, you're probably talking 12, 13 starters on offense. Again, a third or fourth wide receiver, depending on if you're an 11 or 12 personnel team. Again, 1, 2, 3 tight ends. Who are your short yardage backs? Who are your change of pace? Who are your pass catching running backs? Again, whoever you're expecting to see significant snaps from on offense. On defense, again, it's going to be a base defense, a nickel defense, and maybe who's their dime defender, who is their NASCAR or cheetah package pass rusher they're bringing onto the field in those third down longs when the pass is going to be coming out. Then on special teams, again, of course, who your kicker, punter, long snapper is, really focused on them. And then who are the key players, who are the high production guys, the guys that you have to shut down, the players that maybe that is their only role, or they're young players that are growing on offense or defense that you really have to keep an eye on special teams. So you really focus on that roster. The other thing with roster, who are your key backups? Who, if somebody gets hurt, is going to be playing. And again, that injury element of the roster is another one of those really big things. Who got hurt the day before? Who's been hurt? Who's trending to come back this week that maybe we haven't seen on film the last couple of weeks? Who got hurt yesterday that we're not going to have to worry about? Again, that's going to change the 53. Who are those practice squad players that are going to be bumped up due to injury? Again, tracking those injuries throughout the week. Who's on the report? Who is trending in the right direction? Trying to, again, predict and project who is going to be back and who's going to be out, who's going to be limited. All those things are going to be what you present with that advanced roster report. Beyond roster, you got to talk about coaches. Again, who's the head coach? Yeah, we may know that OCDC coaches are always fairly familiar. Again, coaches move around so much. You've been with different staffs. In most cases, coaches have a pretty good feel. But again, you're going to go through the full list of coaches. What are their backgrounds? What are their philosophies? What do they like to do? What are their trends? Again, sometimes you may bring somebody, I didn't even know they were on staff over there anymore. Or, hey, Matt, I didn't know they were doing that. Maybe it's a new position, something to note. Again, there may be instances, plays from their past that they are going to, wow, yeah, it's going to, spark something. You're going to talk about the coaches, who does what, who's on the field, who's up in the booth. Is there anybody that signals? What are the coaches doing? Who is active? All those kinds of things, focusing on the coaches. From there, again, you're going to be married with your analytics department. What are the analytical trends? What trends 80% plus of the time? If we can know 80% of the time, have a good feel, we're going to be able to get a right call. We're going to be able to get our players to play faster. What analytics? 12 personnel with this formation. What are we looking at? Do 11 personnel this situation? Digging in on those numbers. Again, one of the things I loved as a pro scout was you start watching through your film. You're watching players, you're getting player reports done, you're starting to watch some scheme, watch some situational football, and it's like, hey, maybe I'm seeing something here. It seems like I've got some notes here that predict this. Hey, let's go talk to the analytics department. Hey, can you run a report on this situation? Oh, wow, the numbers bear that out. Again, continue to dig in on those situations. Again, marrying the roster information, the player information with analytical trends, down and distance situational trends is where you can really give your staff an advanced scout can really give an advantage to the coaches as they dig into some of that stuff to really make sure they have the right stuff. Again, there's always trend breakers. There are always going to be situations where it's a true 50-50. Hey, we're not even going to worry about that. We just got to play base defense. We got to be ready to play. We got to be able to have multiple calls. But again, when you really start to dig in on those, again, a tight end aligned 2 yards tight or 2 yards wide, or running back alignment, when defensive linemen get in square stance, staggered stance, footwork, all those things are really, really fun to dig on when you're doing it in advance. And again, you jump into a game, you jump into an opponent, you never know where it's quite going to take you. Maybe there are some overall trends you see across the league, across certain opponents, certain type of offenses. But again, it's going to be game and week specific. Good pro scouts are going to have a couple things that take to the coaches where like, hey, really be looking for this, feel good about this, all that kind of stuff. So those analytic trends, marrying yourself with the data and analytics and letting the film verify the analytics and vice versa, you're going to go a really long way in preparing those coaches to be ready to game plan that week. From there, you're talking philosophy. Is there something in that moment the team is dealing with, something they dealt with Sunday that's going to carry over, something that has kind of been a trend for a couple of weeks that you can focus on? Is this team beat up? Are they hot? Are they on a roll? Are they dealing with something? Is there something peripheral that, hey, we do need to note this? I remember very specifically there was a team we advanced that it was very clear. If they got beat up in the first quarter, the trends were exactly the same. They really, really struggled to do anything. The numbers were very similar the next three quarters. If they had a lead or were right there through the first quarter, they were a really tough team to beat. They were a really tough team to play. Again, for whatever reason, that bore itself out in our game. I'm not going to say who it was and how the game ended, but it certainly showed up. So seeing some of those philosophy things, talking about those trends, again, all the different things you deal with from week 1 to week 18 now, it all matters. It all is going to go into that, things to focus on, philosophy, and again, stuff to give your coaches as they start to message for that week. The big present then Monday night, you're also going to have daily updates throughout the week. Again, Tuesday injury reports, what you're hearing. You are reading a lot of information coming from that. Anything that you hear from that, again, if you know people that are around that team, that have been around that team, that also have seen that team, advanced that team, again, you're always looking for any news note that you can find. Again, just like college scouts are digging character, listening, reading between the lines, pro scouts are doing that with everything that comes out from their beat reporters to press conferences, all that kind of stuff, looking for any little nuggets. You'd be surprised if you read between the lines, you're going to find out a little bit more. Again, I remember a situation. I was in an opponent's building for the advance on a Sunday. I was not dressed in anything Falcons-wise. Two guys hop in the airport, start talking about a situation with a player that had been presented in one way by coaches and the team, and I find out that it was something completely different. They had talked all week, like, oh, these players are probably going to be back in the next couple of weeks. I went back in my advance the next day. I said, there's no chance these players are back based on what I heard. That bore itself out correctly. Listening to what you can, reading between the lines, all those things are going to give you little nuggets and inklings into what's going on. So always tough is you want to see what you present on a Monday advance, what you present during the week, bear itself out on game day. This sometimes means good things, sometimes it means bad things. I remember it in both situations. Something I said we had to pay attention for, you see it show up, we don't defend it well, we don't take advantage on offense, it hurts us as a team. But on the other side, again, it's something we were prepared for, maybe the feather in the cap, something you love as a pro scout. It's, hey, I talked about this situation, it shows up, we played it correctly, we shut it down, fantastic. Again, you feel really good about it. Again, always the things that I loved. Sunday nights, Monday, you catch up with coaches. Like, man, you were right on with that. That was awesome. Loved it. Again, that is when you feel really good about what you do as an advanced scout, pro scout, doing those things into the week. That is huge for your team. So no matter what level you're at, again, high school, college, in the pros, advanced scouting is a huge part about pro scouts that are, maybe the most unsung scouts. Again, I remember multiple years, I was in an office, no windows, you're grinding film, nobody ever hears your name. That's fine. That's what a lot of pro scouts love. I'm just doing the grind, the work of it, Pro scouts are huge. Look up your pro scouts. Know that they have a huge impact on your week to week, on what your 53 looks like, as we've talked about, how that team's success goes throughout the year. So give them a shout out. Love them up. They deserve it. Those pro scouts are awesome. Want a deeper dive into advanced scouting? Hit me up at rsafootball.com or head over to Twitter. Hit me up at RightStepADV. We can talk more, jump on a call, talk about those elements of an advanced scout, maybe hear another story or two. Again, check out my co-host, Neil Stratton. He is at Inside the League. Check out our host as well, pro_FB_insiders. We will be back with the Friday wrap tomorrow. We will be back with more football as we keep going, getting into camp time. We will hit on all of that next week, as well as updates from the International Pathway Program, maybe some advancing technologies in the football world, as we continue to bring everything we can on scouting here on Scouting the League. So enjoy it, love football, and keep scouting.